Well, hello, everybody. I'll get through that. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Self Publishing Insiders Live with Draft to Digital, and we've got our A team here this week because we're talking about something really special. We have been talking to you guys about D2D Print for quite some time now. We had the D2D Print beta going strong, fully functional software. Everything works great, but now as of this week, actually, we are now making that available for all authors everywhere. And you can get right in there and start using us for print on demand right away. Now, we're going to talk about some of what that means and what's available to you. But welcome to the show, and welcome to Dan and Tara for popping in with us.
Hello.
So,
Hi guys.
So I want to start off we always invite you to leave your comments or you leave your questions in the comments. Be sure you're doing that because especially for this one, this isn't ask us anything, but we specifically want to talk about D2D Print. So ask any questions you have, and I'm sure some will come up as we go. But for now, who wants to kind of break down for us what D2D Print is at its heart?
Do I take a stab at it, Tara?
Sure. So as a lot of our authors already know, because they were in our beta, we've added the ability to get your books out into print. It is a super streamlined, super simple process, especially if you already have your books in ebook format through us. It's a couple of clicks and you're up and live in print. There's no contacting cover designers and trying to get covers made and paying expensive prices for that. We can actually take your front ebook cover and pull that into a spine back cover image and create a completely professional, really nice cover image for you. We have different templates that you can use, so you can get flourishes and styles and all sorts of just all the bells and whistles, but super simple, super easy process. And now it's open to everyone.
And it's very exciting because, this is something I remember when we first announced this. We told folks at Nink about this, and we were very gung ho. we really wanted to see this work, and there were a couple of bumps along the way that I think actually helped us to make it a stronger platform. Dan, do you mind talking about that a little? I mean, are you okay with sharing some of the warts?
Yeah. Print ends up being much more complicated than we thought, but it's also been exciting because as we've been watching the industry, print sales remain very high. They do remain like the majority of book sales. And so making sure that you're offering your book in print is so important. And that's why we wanted to make sure it was really easy, because we knew just from looking at our catalog, we saw a lot of authors that had not done it yet. Behind the scenes, there's a lot of different print-on-demand companies and networks and printers everywhere. And so we've kind of just been working with them and trying to find the best solution for our authors and making sure that we get distribution, basically worldwide, trying to be able to work with all the people that we work with and love in, say, Australia or Europe or the UK. And everyone here in the good old USA.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna tell you, we're already getting people burning us up with questions, so I'm gonna go ahead and start jumping into some of these.
Let's hop into it.
Let's do it. All right. So Nicole asks, are returns allowed on D2D Print books?
So we are not allowing returns or the option to turn on returns on our books because we just think it's too much risk to the author with little reward. There are some small bookstores that probably will not buy your book if it does not allow returns. Unfortunately, the return system is kind of an all or nothing thing. You can't say I allow returns up to this amount. So a bookstore could order 100 copies of your book, and if they don't sell any, then you were charged and they just pulp the book, which is kind of a ludicrous system. It's been the system for a long time.
Archaic.
Yeah, it really is something that needs to change. That being said, I mean, and I think if you walk into a small bookstore and say, hey, I have an indie author, my book's available here, they might say, oh, we don't buy it without returns. We sell a ton of books to small bookstores. And so if they have customers going in and asking for it, or if the book is just a book that they're hearing about and then selling, they will buy it without the returns being enabled. We've just heard too many horror stories, including our own Mark Lefebvre, of having big orders that went nowhere and ultimately losing hundreds, if not thousands of dollars because of it.
Just getting a bill later on for those books that didn't sell out of the blue is just not financially possible for some authors.
Yeah.
Now, Nicole had an additional question that's kind of tangentially related, but what is the discount to retailers? Can we charge? Can we change that, or is there a set percentage of 55%?
We have it set right now. Tara, do you remember what the percentage is?
It's the 55% right now. So it's what bookstores actually expect to receive. It's in line with industry standard. The more books we sell, the more we can leverage with our print vendors. But it is set up that way right now.
We probably in the future will look at giving a little bit more options around that. Right now, we don't let you choose different percentages.
Right.
As we just move more volume, we get better discounts and can kind of offer more wiggle room for authors and still make sure the authors are making a good profit off the books.
Yeah, we should say that now that we've opened this up, the chances of us being able to work out something in the future are going up. While it was in beta, there were certain limitations. We can only add so many people at a time and that sort of thing. But now that this is opened up and it's starting to get a lot more momentum, you can look for some really cool advances coming up. We're just in early days, so
definitely
good time to jump in.
And we've been taking feedback during beta this entire time. So we know a lot of the things that our authors are already asking for, like being able to do large print books, additional trim sizes, hardcover as well as softcover. These are all on the drawing board, all things we fully intend to develop and add. So keep those comments coming, keep the feedback coming in. If it's something you need for your particular book, let us know. Our dev team is incredibly responsive and capable of building out additional resources. So we love to get that type of feedback from you.
Yeah. All right. Another question has come up from Christy on YouTube. What's the lead time for print copies?
It's actually pretty quick. It goes through a review process. We're looking at, I want to emphasize this. We are not proofreading your book. So you want to be working with finished files, but we are checking your book to make sure nothing went wrong during the conversion. The things that, it has a copyright page. That's just required for print publishing. If you've included any sort of ISBN information, that it's the correct ISBN information. So we're just checking those standard things that are required to be a professional print book. But we are not proofreading your book. But that does take time. That does take time to go through a review process. Usually you can see your book up and live within 1 to 2 weeks at most. When you order, if you order a proof copy, it's shipped expedited. So it's very quick to receive a proof. But we also offer author copies. So that's just the cost to print the book and ship it to you, no royalty markup. And those are also quick. You can do expedited shipping with those. It's not standard, but you can do it. So it's a pretty quick lead time. 1 to 2 weeks max is usually what we're dealing with.
We probably should qualify that on that's always changing. And
so true.
Like the answer you're hearing right now is based on recently.
Absolutely.
Especially around the holidays, it does tend to slow down. And so should you have like a author event or signing sometime between November and January, you want to order as early as you possibly can, because the whole print on demand supply chain slows down around those times, basically because everyone's using it. Like that's when print books are selling more than ever. Often, some of the bigger consumers of print on demand, like Amazon, will use that rather than storing a bunch of books in their warehouses, because they can store other stuff in their warehouses. So just something to be aware of. You can always write into our team, and they can give you like a current, like what we're seeing right now, if you've got something that is really time sensitive.
Yeah. During the Black Friday sales, it slowed way down. Just the print facilities were working at their max. So definitely be aware of what's going on in the industry at the time that you're placing your orders.
Yeah. Lots of crazy stuff going on right now. Christy also wanted to add that a huge thank you for having good reporting options. Such an improvement over someone else. We won't go into who.
Reporting is so difficult. Like,
yeah,
just the data from everyone is all different, and so thank you for we hear complaints all the time about reporting. We also hear praise. It's a struggle. We're always lobbying with our partners to get as much information and detail as we can for you. And we're constantly tweaking our own reports page to try to make it a little bit easier to understand. It's difficult. Like, it's just displaying all these numbers in a way that makes sense to everybody. And with everyone, like the different ebook retailers and the different print retailers, just giving different information, it can be difficult, but we try to make sure to include everything we can, especially in that final report that we get once the sales numbers are fully in.
DR from YouTube is asking, what is the minimum page count?
Currently, it's set at 64 pages, and max is 740.
Okay.
That'd be a big book.
It's huge.
Brandon Sanderson level stuff.
740. Yeah, I've read longer books though, so we can't do the seriously.
It's like Wheel of Time stuff is probably, and the Sanderson books really are probably more than that.
Yeah. See, that's a good opportunity for you as an author. You should split that out into multiple books, and you make even more money. That's our advice. 3 750 word books.
I feel like fantasy authors just want to make a book in which you can kill somebody with it.
Yeah, they want me to cry is what they want.
Yeah.
Jennifer here. Jennifer here. Can we order proofs and extra copies for ourselves?
You sure can. Yeah, and the best part is when you order the author copies for yourselves, it doesn't have the big proof or pre-press or any of that nonsense all over the covers. It's completely usable for you, for your family, your friends, book signings. It's a finished copy of your book, but yes, you absolutely can.
On the proof, it is $30 right now. That includes some fees to both expedite it, both the processing and then to ship it expedited. You really do not have to have a proof, and I want to emphasize that. A lot of people get confused. The digital proof is just as good. If you want to just have it in hand as soon as possible before you authorize it to go out and be more widely available, that's what the proof is there for. But the digital proof will show you all the different formatting considerations. With the extra copies for yourself, those are author copies, and you get them at cost. And so it's much cheaper, great for if you have an author signing or if you just want to give some copies out to friends and family. And
we should throw in that there's no watermark on the digital proof. So you can use that. Like one thing, if you do feel like you need the actual physical proof, you could at least use that to do like maybe a special giveaway to your reading list. Sign it, do something special with it, and you can justify that. But it's completely yours. There's no one trying to claim it at all. So, next question, another from DR. What is the most popular genre in print sales with D2D Print sales?
Tends to be nonfiction, which is strange for us since we've really made the majority of our money in ebooks in genre fiction. we're seeing sales across the board. Like we are in all different genres, but just a way higher concentration of nonfiction than we expected. I would say of fiction, it has trended towards like clean romance to Christian romance, like stuff in that area. But you can be successful with just about any genre in print. Yeah.
Okay. We got a lot of great questions, by the way, and I'm just really going through them one by one here. But Chris asks again, do you know if Amazon discourages paperback books that are both on Amazon, not expanded distribution, and DVD, different ISBNs of different editions?
Discourages wouldn't be the word that I use. There's no issue. As long as it's not an expanded distribution, you're not going to encounter an issue. I think Amazon does give preference to direct people who load direct on KDP Print, but they don't. We've never had them pull books down. We've never received emails. They definitely don't discourage it. That it's not an issue to do it that way.
It's very different than ebooks, and with ebooks, nearly all the retailers will ask you that you not have double listings. It was a big problem in the early days of digital distribution. With books, there's inherently the concept of having multiple editions of a physical book. It can be like older covers that will still be in stock at some stores. Mm-hmm. It can be like a second printing where they made revisions from the editors. In Amazon's case, it can be the used copies. And so they are very fine with having as many listings of the print book on their site as you want, within reason. I mean, I'm sure there might be some limits to what they would want. That being said, they do, like Tara said, they give preference to the version of the book. Like, and by preference, I mean the buy box. They will reward it 99% of the time to whichever way in which they make the most profit, which is nearly always the direct listing with Kindle Direct Print. And so that will show and get preference most of the time. If they are sometimes, like when they're they can have availability problems, like we talked about, print on demand chain slowing down. They might show one of the other versions because it's available, in which case, you'll make a little bit less than you do with Kindle Direct, just because it pays out the most. But it's not a problem, and so you can have all those listed there. And in fact, it kind of ensures that a version of your book is available if something is wrong with like Kindle printing, and for whatever reason they just can't get it printed out.
Our friend DR has another question. Can we sell word search books through D2D Print?
We're not currently accepting the low and the no content books. The problem with that is the quantity. Authors can put things together so quickly that's, word search and puzzle books and Sudoku and coloring books. And we were just inundated with so much of that we had to make a decision. So we're not currently accepting that. That may change in the future, but as of right now, we aren't.
What about my collection of short stories that has a Sudoku between each chapter? Can I do that?
That would be exciting.
Bill Hines asks, what about the return policy Ingram is so adamant about? Can we set that, i.e. 55% return / destroy?
We did cover that a little bit earlier, and on our end, we're not allowing the returns because it's just too much of a danger to authors, because it's essentially an unlimited amount. A bookstore can order 100 copies of your book, not sell it, and then you're responsible and have to pay for that. Those books. We are not allowing the percentage to be set. We probably will offer more options with that in the future. From what we've seen, most sales are happening online anyway. That seems to be going with industry trends. And the small bookstores and even mid-sized bookstores, if they have customers asking for a book, they will go ahead and buy it regardless of those policies. And so we're selling plenty of these print books to smaller bookstores.
Samantha Robbins asks, do you publish children's books?
Absolutely, we do. Again, the minimum page count is 64 pages, but we have a ton of children's picture books. We have a ton of juvenile fiction readers. So yes, as long as it meets the minimum page count, we accept it.
We're not doing color yet, right?
Correct.
No.
It's
something
full
to be
color
aware of.
wrap and black and white interior currently.
Yeah.
Well, black and white, those are colors. All right. Ace says, hello, will there be any changes to the Smashwords store?
I'd have to ask Dan that question.
So that is a broad question. In the context of print, we do plan on adding print and eventually audio books to the Smashwords store. So those would just be delivered to, when people buy the print book, it'd just be delivered straight to them, just like you would expect from Amazon. So that's something that I'm very, very excited about. As far as overall, just as part of the merger, we will be moving like Smashwords authors over to the D2D platform as far as like managing their books. We'll be putting a lot of emphasis on Smashwords as a store and really making it one of the best reader experiences out there. We certainly will be looking at the ways in which to make it more effective at helping readers find their next great read.
Do poetry books sell? That's a tough question to answer.
Yeah, in ebooks, not so much. I have seen some success stories in print. Poetry by itself is harder. It doesn't sell a ton, but where we're seeing people succeed is if they build a social media presence with, like I've heard stories both from Instagram and from Tumblr, and that would be like, sharing, well done pictures that have some of the lines of your poetry that will intrigue people and getting them to follow you. And those do tend to sell in print. For whatever reason, the reason are pretty, like, the younger generation prefers print, which was kind of a surprise. A lot of people thought that the younger people would be the first ones to move over to digital. A lot of it has to do that they just like having something tactile in hand. They like to have something that shows, like, identifies them with a group, like they are fans of this or that. And it ends up the ebooks are preferred by older people who have moved around a lot and know how much of a pain in the butt it is to move books, and or don't want to have to get their readers out because they're embarrassed because their eyesight is not as good as it used to be. Or maybe you read some particularly saucy romance and you don't necessarily want people on the bus or train judging you.
That's true. I don't have that experience.
Whatever.
I don't care if people judge me. I'm going to say Zelia. Can you do a breakdown of what the royalty structure is, maybe including an example? Does it matter where the book is sold?
I would want to direct her to our pod calculator page. It actually breaks it down step by step. So there's base unit costs involved, just the cost to actually use the paper and the ink and the print facility. And then after that, it breaks it down line by line. You have it in black and white and writing right there on our webpage. So maybe one of our commenters can link to that and help her see what it is that we're describing. But overall, what the easy math is, you make 45% of your list price after cost for print books.
But yeah, with the matter of where it is sold, it very much does. The rates are different in the U.S. versus Australia versus Europe. So it is quite different, and they change. Like sometimes the rates will go up in one place if there are supply shortages, and they won't go up in other places. And so just something to be aware of. The final reporting we send you includes all of that information as far as what was actually the cost of the book, what was charged to the reader, etc.
And the nation it was sold in, correct?
Debbie on YouTube is asking regarding hardcover, which we said earlier is on the way someday down the road. Regarding hardcover, how would that differ from Amazon?
Really, at the end, we don't know exactly, since we haven't gone down that road, exactly what form it will take. However, the main difference would just be that it would be reaching the wide market. So anywhere that the Ingram distribution network sells books, it would show up there. And with Amazon, unless you're an expanded distribution, you're only going to be available on the Amazon stores. If you are an expanded distribution, you're just going to make a lot less because of the fees tacked onto that.
Yeah. Epic Lifestyle Inspiration, love that name. Asks, hello, how long will it take to get paid for D2D Print sales?
It takes approximately about 90 days after the book is sold before we actually send payment. We're sending almost as quickly as we get it. So that's just how long it takes to collect those national sales from all the various vendors who's selling these products for you. But you can expect about 90 days after the month is closed out to receive that payment.
And we should add that that's basically coming from the retailer where it's sold. Like we're not tacking on any time whatsoever to that. As soon as we have funds that are earmarked for you, they go to you on the 15th of the very next pay period. As soon as we can get it to you. So. Christy asks, how can we advertise to the venues you distribute through? And that's a general marketing question. I'm happy to chat about that a little. So, I mean, this is the same as promoting anything really, and in particular ebooks. If you're used to promoting ebooks, you would just do targeted ads on the various platforms like Facebook. You can do BookBub ads and that sort of thing. And aim you can target those readers who read, who have specified that they read on those platforms. That it's as simple as that, and there's no real silver bullet to it. It's another one of those where you're going to want to experiment, test some things, target the right, the right authors and the right subject keywords and that sort of thing, and go back and forth until you found the right formula. I wish I had an easier answer for you, but it's the same with print as it is with ebook. It's basically where that comes from. Anybody want to tack anything onto that?
Internally on our end, we are looking at what we can do to help promote these books in the way that we've done with ebooks. We have full-time staff members that are working with our digital retailers on promotions and trying to get those and letting people know if they've got books eligible for them. We're hoping to recreate that in print. It's a little bit different. It's much more of a kind of, you have to be at certain conferences, but that's something, we're putting a big focus on getting to know the library market better and how to advertise to them better as, from our business side to make sure, because the way our business model works, we only make money when you make money. So it's in our best interest to help you sell as many books as possible. There's parts of the book market, the print book market, that are just kind of still off limits, might be the right word for it. Like, it's nearly impossible to get a book into Target or Walmart if you're not one of the traditional publishers with very big contracts, and taking a lot of risk. Like, you're assuming a lot of the burden if the books don't sell. But we're really hoping to convince the small indie bookshops that we're like them, and we're fighting the idea of there just being like one or two big retailers of books, and that indie authors will work with them and try to help them sell as many books at their store as possible.
And we have so much just quality, awesome content to give. I think as we continue these conversations, with the libraries and the bookstores and the merchandising teams. I think they're going to be very impressed with what our authors put out there. Just so much content that needs to be out there, needs to be on the market and available.
Sorry, I had myself muted there. Sorry about that. So Ace asks, does D2D Print do print to expanded distribution? We've talked a little bit about this, but let's dive a little deeper.
But by default, we are expanded distribution. It's different. It is the alternative to using Amazon expanded distribution, which is also charging you quite a bit more. Like the margins they're taking for expanded distribution are quite a bit. So you'll make more money using our service to reach the wide retailers, but you can still have your print book up with Kindle Direct Print for selling at Amazon. There are still some libraries and small bookstores that will not buy if they see Amazon associated with the book, just off principle. And so that's another advantage to using some of the other wide networks like us.
Maria asked a question, and we're not currently offering anything beyond paperback right now, but I think this can be will there be options for multiple print versions, paperback, hardback, large print?
Go ahead, Dan.
Those are future plans, like the biggest ones. We want to add a few more sizes probably, just in general for paperback, but hardback is one. And definitely let us know in the comments or emailing our team if hardback or large print is more important to you. We think there's a market for both, and so we'll be making it. Essentially, we've done all the heavy lifting, so adding all these different sizes and formats will be pretty easy in the coming year, or maybe more than that. It depends. We've got a lot of stuff going on. The merger has certainly been a lot, but yes, we're adding all those things.
Okay. Coach Tanisha asks, do we get a link to send to people to order, or do we send our own links?
We aren't creating, over on the ebook side, we have been creating the universal book link with all of your links attached to it. So we're actually doing the crawling on the different websites and finding your book for sale. We can't do the same thing with print, just because you can have more than one version in print. So we don't know which version you want us to link to, but you can do that. You can add your print link to your universal book link on Books to Read, and then you would supply that UBL to anyone that you want to share your book news with, and they would be able to have access to ebook, print book. We even add audio links in there. So we're not doing it automatically, but we make it possible for you to add.
And typically, we don't get like a complete list of the links from the distribution network. While we've got like a fairly decent list of where all the books go to, there's not like an automated getting a link back. On the ebook side, like Tara mentioned, we built out stuff to go and find that. It's just extraordinarily hard to do that for both print and for audio, but more so for print because of multiple versions and then used versions.
Well, and your book may be available to a particular vendor, but not displayed by that vendor. There's all sorts of systems in place where they select particular content. I had a gentleman from New Zealand who was writing books about golf courses in New Zealand. They apparently have some world famous golf courses, beautiful golf courses. And he was playing these golf courses and writing up tips and tricks on each of the different holes of these golf courses. And he wanted to see his book live through a particular New Zealand vendor. Well, when we contacted that vendor, they his thinking was, I'm local. It's about stuff in this area. Of course, they're going to want it. When I contacted them, they were going, that's all we get. is golf course books in New Zealand. We would like something else for once. So it's up to the vendor to decide what they're going to actually reflect on their site. Just because you've published into print doesn't mean your book is listed and available on every single site out there, but that site has access to it. And if anyone came in and asked, can I get this book? They could get that book, they could display it, and they could sell it for you.
I'd encourage you to get a little creative with something like that too, because in New Zealand, that's what they get is a bunch of those golf course books. But how popular could that book be elsewhere for people who are maybe looking for travel destinations for golf? So do a little research. You might be able to actually get a much bigger market elsewhere.
And he did. That was the whole conversation, is we were seeing this book everywhere else, just not in this one small New Zealand bookstore. And his thinking was, but it's local. And their thinking was, I've got 100,000 of these on my shelf right now. You know,
work on selling enough books that you can just go buy that bookstore and put your books.
There you go.
So Zelia Parks asks, do you have to have a quote publishing house, create an LLC to publish with D2D Print?
No, you do not. You do not have to do that. Most authors publish under their own names, or if they're using a pen name, they put the pen name in the publisher field. You do not have to establish an LLC or anything like that.
You should talk to like a local lawyer or like small business stuff. There are advantages to having an LLC, but yeah, you don't have to have. I guess it's in the US would be like the DBA is effectively.
It depends on what you're going for in terms of like taxes and protection and that sort of thing. But yeah, you don't even really need a DBA to have a publishing imprint. You can just create that. There's certain advantages. I mean, you're not, as long as you're the one on the, you're the one getting paid and you've got your name down there, you can put anything you want as the publisher name. But yeah, there's lots of ways to do that. A DBA is sometimes very handy if you want to have
anything that's not already taken.
Yeah. Memories asks, can we print comics?
We do have some comics printed. The only concern we've encountered with comics is, for one, it's not in color. This is black and white printing, and most comics are color images. So just keep that in mind. But the bleed through. So if you've got really, really ink heavy images, it can bleed through and make the flip side difficult to read. So just keep that in mind. There's some comics out there that work great, absolutely fantastic. But there's some that are just so much solid black that as you flip the pages, it can be very difficult to read the next text.
Yeah, the paper that they use in like graphic novels and comic books, it's designed to take that ink and not have bleed. The paper that's used in these print-on-demand books and most paperback books and hardcover books it's not designed for that, and it's very easy to bleed through. So something to keep in mind. SD asks, can we do pre-orders on the print books?
You absolutely can. You just want to make sure you're uploading full finished files, because what we're sending to our printer is what will be printed. So no placeholder files, no unedited versions. These you have to plan ahead and have full finished files, and then you absolutely can get pre-orders out there ahead of time.
Yeah, and we're so used
unlike digital, when you change the asset, it takes a while for it to propagate across the network. It's not, if I find a typo in my book today and I fix it, it's probably going to go live at Apple. Like the fix will be live at Apple within a few hours. With print, it's not that way. You're talking weeks of the old version, and that can be cover assets, that can be the interior asset. It just takes a while. It's an older supply chain that was not built for people making rapid changes. It was made for traditional publishers that basically put something up once and forget it.
Yeah. Jennifer asks, Let's get that up there. Okay. Is this compatible with formatting programs like Atticus, or is it better to use your formatting?
It absolutely is. We have Atticus files, Vellum files, books that have been typeset through Readsy. They all look fantastic. So yes. However, I just want to say, for anyone who hasn't tried it yet, give our system a try. You don't have to pay for a professional formatting software or a professional formatter, just because ours does a really good job getting you a professional looking book. But if you have one of those files, absolutely, it works. No problem at all.
We have a little shout out here from our friend Dale Roberts. He says, "Hey, what's up, gang? This seems like a good time to tell you that you should actually be subscribing to his channel as well as our channel on YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/@selfpubwithdale, you can actually subscribe to his channel, and make sure you subscribe to us while you're there. We appreciate it. But hello, Dale. Thanks for popping in." Leona asks, "Can I sell to Amazon via D2D? Does Amazon Kindle approve of that?"
Yes, we distribute to Amazon for ebooks, and these print books go to Amazon. We do have a good chunk of our authors will go direct at Amazon for ebooks and frequently for print books. We all support that with the Draft Digital system. Everything is opt-in on the ebook side. With print, it is it gets into the distribution network and goes everywhere. But as we covered a little bit earlier, that's normal, and the different retailers will pick out the version that's most likely to sell there.
I'm rapidly getting. We have so many questions. You have no idea. I'm working double time here. I've got 3 books on Draft Digital, but they're all ebooks. How do I get more sales as I've sent them to people when the sale was not sure? Blah, blah. I don't think this is directly a print question, but if we want to field that, we got any quick tips for anybody looking to up their sales on ebooks or print?
The number one things we saw are make sure that your cover image is in line with bestsellers in your genre. If you've made a cover, like 99 times out of 100, I'd say when we've done some consultations, the cover has been an issue. It shouldn't be something that looks like a scene in your book. It shouldn't be something that you wanted to really stick out. It should look like everything in your genre with just a little bit of sticking out. Beyond that, frequently when people ask us this question, they're not sharing people the links to the other retailers. That's why we built Books to Read, to make it really easy to find the links to your books on other retailers and to share them on social media in a way that readers can find them. Most of the time it's just people are sharing Amazon links and moving on. The other things that I recommend are if you get an email from us about any promotion the retailers are doing, take part in it. Like, they are not charging you. That's something that's free to you and can help you find your reader base at that retailer. And if your book is doing reasonably decently and you have reviews, and it can just be at one retailer. Like, let's say you've been with Amazon for a long time, you've got a lot of reviews there, but you're trying to make it work on the other retailers now. Apply for BookBub. Their feature deals as often as you are eligible to do so. The BookBub feature deals are a great way to really get things rolling at the other retailers and help you find your readers there.
Quizmaster China asks, could you at least make a checklist of typical issues which cause a print edition to fail to pass the checks?
That's a great idea. And that's something that actually I was talking to some of our marketing team, things that we specifically look for and have to flag. So I think that's a great idea. I think we will work to get some sort of blog post or something like that out. That way authors can just run through the list and just check. I've got everything in line, all good to go.
I'd say one of the biggest hangouts we see, just to mention since we haven't mentioned it yet, is there's a concept of vendor of record for print books. And so if you've used an ISBN before at another place, and like you're coming to us, then we have to get permission from you to ask that other place to release that ISBN to us. And that process can go back and forth for a while, depending on who it is. Especially like if you use an ISBN at Amazon and you're trying to use it elsewhere, they take forever to respond to those requests. And so it typically is better to go with a new ISBN. We offer our free ISBNs, but just something to be aware of that can kind of cause some delays, like significant delays.
Well, we're at time, and we're going to have to wrap this up, but I'm really glad everyone tuned in. There were quite a few of you. Welcome. If you haven't tuned in before, I hope you enjoyed this experience. We do one of these. We do a live stream at least every Thursday at noon Central, so make sure you're tuning in for that. You can ask pretty much any question you want. Usually if we have a guest, we prefer you ask questions of the guest. But if you ever do have questions for us, go and visit draft2digital.com so that you can reach out to us on our contact form or email support@draft2digital.com. Make sure you're bookmarking D2DLive.com because you'll get a countdown for each of these programs each week, plus a little insight and links to existing shows. If you subscribe to us on YouTube, you're going to be able to see all these as they hit and go live. So make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe. So if we did not get to your questions, and I know there were quite a few that we didn't get to, and our team has been actively answering those in the comments, and some of them will probably stick around to continue to ask. But if we didn't get to a question, you can always leave it as a comment in the YouTube video or on the Facebook post, or email us, as we said, at support@draft2digital.com. So that's going to wrap us up. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Dan and Tara, for being here and being your wise selves, and everyone else. We'll see you all.
Thanks, Kevin.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.